I want to say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, thank you. We will, once again, first of all, of course, extend to each and every one of you our deep appreciation for the co-creation of this interaction with our civilization and yours. And we thank you for the gift of allowing us to experience through you that many more facets of the multidimensional crystal of creation. So, we would like to begin this transmission in the following way by discussing the information that is on the diagram before you that we have called the 9 levels of consciousness. This idea has to do with the fact that as a consciousness, as a being, a greater being, you can create different vibratory levels within your overall consciousness that can create certain layerings, certain experiences, certain dimensional realities within that overall consciousness that will allow different aspects, different facets of your consciousness to experience different kinds of realities. In creating the idea, in choosing the idea of experiencing what you call physical reality, which of course is only an experience happening within your consciousness, not really outside of you at all, the idea is that the immediate connection to that level of reality, to that experience of reality, involves at least 9 levels of vibratory consciousness. Now, there are many more levels, but the idea is that these are the ones that are immediately relevant to the experience of physical reality to allow you to understand both the nature and the structure of how your consciousness shifted its vibrational frequency in a manner and according to a structure that can allow you to experience physical reality. And at the same time, we will demonstrate, with the explanation of this structure, how physical reality has created a perspective that has not really, for quite some time, allowed you to understand the true relationship of these different levels to one another, and thus has, in some way, allowed you to not really clearly see how you can use your relationship to these levels in the most effective way. So we will endeavor in this transmission to clarify the relationship of the different levels within this structure for the purpose of allowing you greater clarity, greater utility of the different levels of consciousness as they allowed themselves to create different frequencies that led to the experience and the crystallization of your consciousness as a physical being. Because one of the things that has happened, and we will get to this a little bit later on in this transmission, is that by creating a physical experience, you have created a certain perspective in your physical mind's consciousness that has allowed you to assume certain things about the relationship of your physical mind to these other levels that in some senses is upside down from the way it actually is structured. And being that you have perceived this structure in an upside down fashion has created the idea of a reinforcement of some of the negative conditions that you have experienced. So in explaining and clarifying this structure in this transmission, it is again our endeavor to allow you to understand the true nature of the relationship, the true order in which these levels exist in relation to one another, and by understanding the true order, to be able to utilize them in a more powerful, more effective way for the purpose of manifesting your experience of physical reality more efficiently, more powerfully, more clearly, more consciously, so that you can design your physical reality to be what you truly prefer it to be. Does everyone understand what we have just said? All right, so let us begin with the diagram at what you would call the top with what is labeled the Oversoul. Now, this idea, as has been explained and defined in many ways from many different perspectives in your society, is the idea of a level of your consciousness that is much, much, shall we say, larger than your physical mind, and in fact is the repository and the reservoir from which all your lives come. All what you call past lives, all what you call present lives, all of what you call future lives, and all of what you call parallel reality concurrent experiences. Now, again, as a reminder, all lives exist at the same time because there is only now. and you make cross connections to these other lives to glean information from them that you may need in this life and to give information to those other lives that they may need in theirs. But for the sake of clarity, we will simply speak in a colloquial way and talk about the idea of past, present, and future, even though that's just an illusion, and all these lives exist at the same time. But the Oversoul is like the idea of the hand, and all the different lives that stem from it are like the idea of the fingers that extend from the same hand. So even though there may be many different lives, they are all connected back energetically, vibrationally, to the same Oversoul for many of you. To illustrate this point, of the approximately 6.5 billion people, individual personality structures that exist on your planet incarnationally at this time, that is only representative of approximately 300,000 Oversouls. So you are many of you connected to each other in a variety of ways. And even though you have distinct and unique lives, many of you share some of the same Oversoul vibrations, even in this reality, let alone all the other lives and all the other parallel reality extensions that the Oversoul can, shall we say, spin off from itself. After the Oversoul, in that sense, has extended different extensions, different ideas of different lives that it wishes to experience, the first level, shall we say, of differentiation that it creates within itself in order to create this spin-off is the level that you call the soul, the individual soul. So the idea you can see on your diagram is that it says individual soul and or spirit. There is a slight degree of difference between these two ideas, which we will explain later on. But for now, the idea is that the first level of differentiation vibrationally is what you call the creation from the Oversoul that contains many souls, the differentiation or extension of an individual soul that is destined in a sense or sent out to experience a particular unique life experience. The idea thus then is that the soul will differentiate its vibration yet again, shall we say, splitting itself in another fashion to create what is called the higher mind. Now, this higher mind exists in a realm unto itself that is parallel to your physical reality and has similar traits to the idea of being its own unique experiential dimension. But the difference between the realm or the world of the higher mind, as it is different from the realm or the world of the physical mind, which is farther down the ladder, vibrationally speaking, even though these worlds are parallel, the main difference is that while in physical reality you experience the idea of a lot of motion in space, and not so much the idea of motion in time, in the higher mind's world you experience far more motion in time and less motion in space. The idea being that that's why the higher mind has the ability to perceive what you would call the past, present, and future all at the same time, because it has the senses, it has the point of view, it has the perspective of looking at all of the different frameworks that your life is creating to experience itself in on a moment-to-moment basis, linearly speaking. So the higher mind is like the version of you that stands on the mountaintop and can see far and wide and see all the trails and all the pitfalls and all the paths you could take, whereas the physical mind is like being down in a valley. And it is important thus then to rely on the guidance of the higher mind and allow yourself to form a relationship and a bond of communication with the higher mind in order for the physical personality to navigate the idea of the world of the physical experience, receiving guidance and the perspective of the higher mind that can see clearly which way you need to go so that you do not fall into too many holes. Thus, then, it is important to form this relationship, and in forming a relationship between the higher mind and the physical mind, you thus then are capable of functioning in physical reality as a whole being, a whole person. Because if you do not form this relationship, if you do not allow yourself to perceive the communication that is coming from the higher mind through the conduit you call imagination, then you are, in a sense, at a loss. You are, in a sense, rudderless as you go through physical reality. And it is, in your terms, a hit or miss proposition, whereas forming that relationship will allow you to receive the guidance that can allow you to stay squarely on the vibrational path that represents your themes of exploration and joy and excitement in your physical reality experience. Now, how the higher mind begins to do this is that the first differentiation, referring again to your diagram, that the higher mind will make, will split itself off into or go through, will be the level that we call the template level reality. This, in a sense, is the border between physical and non-physical reality. It might be euphemistically referred to as the blueprint level. This is where the idea of what your physical life will be experienced to be is laid out like a blueprint. And the higher mind lays these ideas out and chooses what kinds of themes it will explore, and generally in what way it will explore them. This is the level that you, as a physical person, call destiny. It does not in any way, shape, or form erase or remove or prohibit you from having free will as a physical person. But the idea is that destiny and free will work hand in hand in a very specific way. The idea of laying out these blueprints or templates for the physical life gives you an opportunity to have some guidelines to follow. And it gives you, in a sense, a type of hallway to walk down. Now, with your free will, you can walk down that hallway however you wish. You can run, you can skip, you can jump, you can crawl, you can go upside down and sideways, backwards and forwards, but walk down that hallway you will. That's the destiny part. The free will is how you do it. And the idea is that it is, in many ways, not so restrictive as you might think, because now, especially in this day and age on your planet that you call the transformational age, you even have the ability now consciously to rewrite, to redesign some of those blueprints. That's what this age is all about, is rewriting your agreements to be more representative and more harmoniously aligned with the ideas of what you prefer to experience as your true natural self, as you form more conscious recognition of your connection to all these different levels of your consciousness. You are thus then empowering yourself to use the template level reality to redesign your agreements, redesign your themes of exploration, redesign the blueprints of your life so as to truly manifest in a very magical and immediate way what it is you truly wish to experience. And this is one of the important reasons why you need to form this strong relationship with the higher mind that is above the template level, where the physical mind is below it, because coming together in a balanced way will allow you to operate from the center of those two realms, the center of those two realities, which is squarely within the template level dimension of experience. But now you can see that as you refer once again to the chart, that the level below this that is created to begin to draw from the blueprint level, to draw from the template level, to begin to lay out the idea of your physical reality blueprint or experience, will be what you call typically the collective conscious agreement level, what we choose to refer to as the collective automatic mind. The idea being here that you lay out the general playing field, the general rules by which you have agreed to play the game of physical reality as a collective consciousness. In other words, you lay out the idea of the type of reality you will experience, perhaps even the type of planet that you will experience, the type of rules and laws of physics that go hand in hand with that dimension of experience, so that you don't have to think about these things, so you don't have to pay attention. Because if every moment you had to think, I need to make sure that gravity is on, I need to make sure that gravity is on, I need to make sure that gravity is on, you simply would go flying off the planet, or you simply would have to focus so strongly on the idea of the background rules of the game that you would never really have a chance to focus on the experience of playing the game. So the idea of creating an automatic level, a playing field, a board, if you will, sets up the automatic rules by which you are playing that you don't necessarily need to pay attention to. They just automatically go on to allow you to play the game. And then, as you see, The next differentiation and the next lowering of the vibration creates more crystallization on an individual level. Now, this is where it starts to crystallize in the automatic individual mind, the idea of the specific theme you will explore on that playing field, in that particular reality that you have agreed to play in with other beings in this collective game. So therein lies your specific conceptual idea of what you will explore as a unique individual. Now, in doing that, you then set up the stage for the next level down, which you call the unconscious mind. And in this sense, this is the first layer of the three parts of what you call the physical personality construct, which is composed of the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind, as you call it, and contains in the unconscious mind the beliefs and definitions, and in the subconscious mind, the emotional energies, and in the conscious mind, the thought patterns that, when combined, form the three-sided prism of personality that thus then working together expresses itself in the form of what you call the ego structure, the personality structure that thus then exhibits the behavior that you exhibit in physical reality experience. So the idea here is to understand, very importantly, that in physical reality, as the vibrational levels, in a sense, coalesce, as they lower and lower and lower, all the way down to the level of what you call your conscious mind on the 9th level, because you have created the experience of physical reality on Earth in a particular way, and because you have focused for thousands of years the idea that your control, that your mastery of life, that your focus of life happens only through the personality or ego structure, that it seems to be the thing that's in charge, in control, doing all of the machinations and all of the perceiving and all of the experiencing of physical reality, you have, because of that experience, erroneously many times labeled the conscious mind as the one at the top, as the one in charge. When you have done this, when you started to define the conscious mind as the one at the top and the one in charge, what you started creating for yourself was the idea that all the other levels existed in some sense below you. So you created a shadow reflection of the ideas of a few of the levels above you and created the idea that they would appear to be below you, even labeling them in ways that intimated that they were beneath your conscious mind. That's why you use the term subconscious and unconscious, and the idea then of the collective unconscious. In creating this shadow reflection downward, which isn't real, it's just an illusion, but it seems real to the conscious mind because the conscious mind thinks it's on the top, so it must be on the top of something. It thus then assumes that the emotions that exist within the subconscious mind are a lower frequency. And it assumes that the belief systems in the unconscious mind are a lower frequency still, deep down below, beneath, under the conscious mind. And assumes that the collective unconscious is, in a sense, lower still in vibration, deep, deep, deep down underneath the conscious mind. For when you see the idea, when you hear the idea, in a sense, of hypnosis, and you go into the idea of the subconscious or unconscious or collective unconscious mind, as you have labeled them, you always say, well, you're going to go deep, you're going to go down, down, down into these levels of consciousness below and beneath and under your conscious mind, which is the waking state. Now, herein lies the secret. As you can see from the diagram, even though you have created the illusion in the shadow reflection that these levels are vibrationally lower than your conscious mind, you can see in the diagram that they are actually vibrationally higher than the conscious mind. Which means that if you actually want to find out what your beliefs are that may be creating the reality experience you are having, you don't go down in vibration to find them. You need to go up. Everything from the conscious mind is up. All of the answers are up. Only the questions and forgetfulness are down. The idea, therefore, is that anytime you think, anytime you pose the idea that in order to access your beliefs or access your emotions or access things that you have hidden and compartmentalized from your conscious mind, anytime you think that you have to go down in consciousness to get them, under the conscious mind to get them, you are actually calling your vibration, you're calling upon your frequency, your signature frequency, to lower itself. And when you call upon your signature frequency to lower itself from a place which is the lowest vibration, all you do is find out that the shadow reflections are nothing but a shadow, that there really is nothing lower. But if you don't understand that, by forcing your vibration down, or at least attempting to force your vibration down where there is nowhere to go, you create a kind of repulsion. It kind of bounces back and magnifies and amplifies and pushes against you in a very specific way, because you're telling it must. You have assigned it the task of discovering something on a lower frequency that doesn't exist. And it keeps coming back to you to tell you, there's nothing down there. I have nowhere to go. Why are you pushing me down there? That's not where the answers are. And if you keep doing that, thinking that you have to keep going down and deeper and deeper and under in order to find the answers, it will push back more and more strongly, creating a cycle within you of frustration, a cycle within you of negativity, and that act is what thus then generates the experience called the negative ego, where suddenly you are frustrated and become angry about why this isn't working. Why do I not have control? Why is my reality not changing? Why am I not shifting in the way I wish to? Why can I not find out what those beliefs are that are creating my reality? Why? As we said, when you go down further than you are, all you find is why? So the idea is to recognize that from this point forward, taking your cue from this diagram, anytime you want to discover the idea of the feelings that are connected to the beliefs, and you want to find out what those beliefs are that are determining the definitions of your reality and the experience of your physical reality, you must raise your frequency. You must go up and expand in order to go back up to the level of the unconscious mind and up to the level of the subconscious mind. You may wish to relabel these things if you wish to remind yourself that they are not below you, not beneath you. Whatever names you wish to give them will work as long as they are representative of you taking your vibration upward and not downward when you seek to explore the idea of what beliefs are creating your reality experience. Because remember, all your physical reality experiences stem from your thoughts and your behaviors, which always stem from your feelings, which always stem first from your beliefs. But you must go up to find them in vibrational resonance. Now, as we said, let us explain the little difference, which is actually a profound difference, between the idea of what is called the soul and what is called the spirit on the individual soul-spirit level. Once you have differentiated your frequency as a consciousness all the way down the ladder into physical reality, and you have your physical reality experience, you live your physical life for whatever duration you have decided is the natural duration that would allow you to explore the themes you chose to explore in that reality experience. Once you have done that, you have, in a sense, really created a unique persona, a unique experience. You have taken all that knowledge, all that experience, all that information, and you have, in a sense, imprinted it on the soul. When the individual soul is created, is spun off from the Oversoul, it is very similar to the idea, energetically, of raw clay. In a sense, it is formless. It has consciousness, but it has no real distinct identity. So the idea thus then of having the life, having the physical experience, having the physical personality, and having all of these explorations and the experience of change, the experience of transformation imprints itself upon that soul, so that when thus then the personality dies and goes back up the ladder vibrationally and arrives back again on that individual soul level, it is now an individual, unique spirit. The spirit is specifically now representative of the life lived. And that is why when you contact the spirits of the dead, they can still present themselves as the people you knew them to be in life. Because the spirit has been, in a sense, representative of that life and is the soul imprinted with that life. And thus then the oversoul can now absorb, in a sense, can learn from, glean from that spirit's life experience, because it is now not simply unfired clay. Now it is beautiful, shining porcelain of a very specific design. And the oversoul can now learn and incorporate and integrate that unique spirit's design into its overall makeup as an oversoul, and thus it can grow in its own stead, in its own perspective, in its own experience of itself, and all of the extensions that it may have, be it tens or hundreds or thousands or millions, are all through those life experiences feeding back information and experience to the oversoul. All the different individual souls imprinting themselves and becoming transformed into spirits and going back up the ladder, back up the vibratory scale to the oversoul. And from that point in the oversoul, going upward yet again to oversouls of oversouls of oversouls of oversouls, all the way up to the source, the all that is, the one. Thus then the idea of the 9 levels are those immediately relevant to your experience of physical reality. And when you understand truly the order in which they really are created, the relationship order in which they exist, and you know now that it is important not to go down to search for your answers, but to always go up, lest you create the idea of the negative ego, then you will gain much more power and much more clarity and much more efficacy at manifesting the experience and physical reality that you prefer, of manifesting the physical experience that is more in alignment with your true self. Because by understanding these relationships and actively engaging with these different levels, as we said, forming bonds, forming true relationships with these different levels of your consciousness in a very clear way, through the conduit of your imagination, from physical to higher mind, then you will allow yourself the opportunity to know more consciously how to design your physical reality. You will understand the structure more clearly, and in understanding that structure, you'll be capable of using the blueprint level. For when thus then you truly understand the relationship and you truly understand the structure, then your imagination becomes many times more powerful. And when you start imagining and visualizing the reality that you prefer, and start seeing it and generating the energy and the excitement that goes with it, then that imagination actually starts to change the idea of the template level reality, starts to rearrange it, starts to rewrite the blueprint. And when you rewrite the blueprint with your imagination that much more powerfully, it will thus then bounce back down and recrystallize into your physical reality, crystallizing more and more every day in every way as the reality that you have now designed with your imagination. You will start this cycle of not just staying down here and bouncing back from the shadow realm, but you'll start going up and down this way. And always thus then will create, in a sense, a kind of a heartbeat pump that goes from the physical personality up through the template level to the higher mind in a true relationship of communication that can plan, in a sense, together, that can design, in a sense, together what life is truly more representative of the true vibrational core of your being. And doesn't that sound like fun? Doesn't that sound like fun? Thank you. So, We would thus encourage you to truly understand this diagram, truly begin with all the other tools we have given you, to apply those tools to this diagram, and please remember, anytime you seek the answers, go up, not down. For down only lies forgetfulness, separation, and more questions, and up lies integration and remembrance and answers and your true self. It really is that simple. It's just about knowing what direction to truly go in. It's all about resonance. It's all about frequency. It's all about vibration. And allowing yourself to create and generate the vibratory frequency that represents the state of being you truly prefer to be. So remember, when you visualize that reality using this structure, remember, it's not about that particular picture from your physical mind needing to come true exactly as you imagine it. It's about the energy that it generates and allowing the higher mind to bring you the version of that image that is most representative of the energy that visualization generated within you. Because the higher mind knows far more ways to generate that kind and to manifest that kind of a reality than your physical mind does. So don't be insistent on that particular picture that your physical mind conjures. Simply bathe in the energy that is symbolized, that is generated by the symbol of the visualization, but let the higher mind bring it to you in whatever way actually serves you best. Because remember, what to the physical mind may seem like the ultimate, may seem like the ceiling, to the higher mind is just the floor, is just the beginning, and the higher mind is capable of bringing you a manifestation of reality far greater than the physical mind is even capable of imagining. So please let it do so. Let it do its job, and let the physical mind do its job of simply keeping you focused in the physical reality experience, which is the entire purpose of ego. That's its only job, is just to keep you focused in physical reality so that you can actually have an experience, so that you can actually, in that sense, perceive physical reality. Remember, higher mind conceives, the brain receives, and the physical personality, the physical mind, just perceives. And that's all it does. It does not know how something is going to happen. It only knows how something is happening. And let the higher mind show you how something will happen, because in the higher mind is the magic, is the bigger point of view, is the bigger picture. But when you work together as a whole person, then the physical mind benefits from that perspective. Use this structure, learn this structure, let it sink in, let it truly become your first nature, not second nature, first nature. So that you will automatically, anytime you desire to get in touch with what beliefs might be creating your physical reality experience, what definitions might be creating your physical reality experience, or what feelings you might be feeling that are being generated from beliefs that you don't know, that are unconscious. Anytime that you think of that, you will automatically know that you need to raise your vibration, expand yourself, and imagine yourself in the perfect state of being that you prefer to be in. And from that state of being will the answers come, and in that state of being will you be able to apply that information as you receive it into your physical reality, to allow the actions to ground that energy in your physical reality experience, so that your physical reality experience takes on those vibrations and truly becomes a reflection of the reality that you know is truly aligned with your true core natural self. Sound good? All right. We thank you for allowing us to share this new idea, this new structure with you. And in return for the gift that you have given to us, how and what way at this time may we be of service to you? You may begin with your interactions of questions and answers if you wish.